Welcome back to this Let's Play, the original official campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2. Last time we did some work for Nishka, just a random side quest. There are not too many random side quests in this game. Most of them actually have some relationship to the main plot. Nishka's are an exception. And, well, you know, it's some XP and some money and some bad loot that I don't really care about, but, you know, it's worth doing.
Yeah, something you need.
Bishop here is a character I usually have trouble gaining influence with because you usually have to do evil things, but not so much. You can be a good character and still essentially get along with Bishop, but you do have to, you know, cater to his whims. You can ask him about the people of Ember.
No, and neither should you. You're from West Harbor. Duncan told me what happened. The Gith show up, and you killed them. And you know what? There'd be a lot less misery in the world if everyone followed that simple rule. Either stand up and fight, or be prepared to suffer. There now. Maybe I'm speaking to someone with some sense. There's learning in fighting and killing, and more in fighting for something you believe in. What would have happened if you never fought for anything? Why, you wouldn't have come all this way. Seems to me there's a strength in that. Something you can learn from. And so could those fool villagers in Ember.
Well, I think they intended for you to have this conversation a little while ago, because all those fool villagers in Ember are dead, so they're not learning much of anything.
Go ahead, but don't expect any answers.
You can also ask them about the trial, and there's some influence things here. The trial?
A Luskan trick, probably still angry with you for driving away their agents in Neverwinter. Yeah, Duncan told me about that too.
Gonna have some chat with the uncle about, you know, loose lips sink ships. Anyway, you can ask for his opinion.
Are you seriously asking me, or just making conversation? Because it seems to me a law-abiding fellow like yourself might just be asking for the sake of asking. And trust me, I'll respect you a lot more if you admit it now than hear my advice and ignore it.
Now, this is a diplomacy check, and I should not be able to make any diplomacy checks. I have a charisma of 6 and no base skill. But with greater heroism, inspire competence, eagle splendor, and a couple of items that I've equipped to give diplomacy, I can actually pass this.
True enough. I'm not one for following what everyone tells me, either. I think you should skip this whole trial and just try to kill the ambassador. That'll send a nice message to them about what you think of justice. Trust me, that's the only language Luskan will understand. Still, if you don't want to waste time in court, of course, you could always try to bed the ambassador as well. I don't think she's getting it from anywhere else. Failing that, I suppose you could follow the procedures and try to find proof of their claim. But that's only worth it if you can hurt Luskan in the process. But do what you want. I could care less.
Alright. And there's one crazy little conversation to have with Kelgar.
Something you need?
And you can ask him about our companions.
Huh? Like who?
And he's being less racist of late.
Well, that frail lass is one of the copper elves. Wood elves. They're a stone's throw more tolerable than some of the other kin, but she's still an elf. Their kind stood with the shield dwarves in the north, so I'll stand by her if need be. She needs to comb her hair, though, and put a little meat on that slim belly of hers. You'd think she was trying to be a tavern dancer with a belly like that. Huh, makes my stomach churn.
Okay, and apparently being able to eat just a slightly bit less racist is all he needed for the trial of the even-handed.
Huh? Not a bad idea.
That little conversation with Kelgar requires that you have influence with him. There's a couple of conversations in the game where having influence makes a difference, and that's one of them. That's probably in some ways the most important one, because it's one that's actually just completely required to complete a side quest. But for some of these other ones, well, you know, for Chandra, getting higher influence with her gets you an item later on, much later on, but let's just get some. Pepin here is a street artist, and you can buy a portrait of Chandra from him for, well, a variety of prices. And if you pay the maximum price, you get an additional 2 influence with her, so if you're going to bother to do it, you might as well do it. But that's not the main event here in Black Lake. the main event here in Black Lake.
See if you can
is
top this
him.
one, love.
This is just sort of an amusing
That's
side
all you
quest.
got? Watch.
Oh, just get out of here, you loser.
And what do you call that?
Yep.
Well, ladies, come now. Surely one of you out there has got himself a lute and a mind to step up and have a go with Cain Lethalon? Step right up then. Just remember to go easy on poor old Cain. Never had one bit of training my whole life.
Well, I guess we're able to take on Cain, even if he doesn't look like an albino who's a little bit inbred.
What's this? Come to challenge Cain, have you, love?
No, I've come to step on you, actually. I cast in large just for the fun of it.
Right. Here are the rules then. Very simple. I play a tune, you play it back. Get it right, I have to play it again, defending my honor, so to speak. If I succeed, it's a draw. If I fail, you win the round. After 4 rounds, the crowd picks me as their beloved champion, and you go change your trousers before anyone notices the wet spot. Simple.
And you can ask about winning, and he sort of laughs. So you can't win, of course.
That's the spirit, love. Have your lute ready? Well, this one here's a fine musician, isn't he?
Oh yeah, look at me. I'm gonna beat Cain Lethalon with a Gaffargan imaginary lute. Ooh, look. I don't need a lute. I'll just walk near a baby with my horrible swamp stench and it'll cry me a beautiful symphony.
I am a wizard, after all.
Here, take this one. Always keep a loner on hand in case another of you luteless loonies comes up here thinking he's the next Cain. Right, let's get on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen of Neverwinter, are you ready?
I love you, Cain!
See how you like this one for starters. Your turn, love. Take all the time you need. No pressure. Just all of Neverwinter's well-to-dos watching your every move.
Now, what you actually have to do here is just a series of numbers, which I've put in the video description. And I'm not just going to read them off, but... Look a little intimidating here.
It's just a fluke, no more. Luck of an amateur. Sorry to say, but you're going to have a much harder time with this next one. Uh-oh, love. Really liked that one, didn't they? That does it. You got the better of me for the last time. Right. I'm not playing down to your level any longer.
Now, to succeed at this, you don't have to just complete the...
Did you hear that? I could swear I just heard
shut
a
up.
noose tightening around your neck.
Shut up. You don't have to just complete the, getting the tunes right. You also have to use your skills. And to do that, I've cast things like Inspire Competence and Greater Heroism, but you don't really need... There are a variety of skills you can use, so it's not like you really have to worry if you don't have, Perform, which would be... Helps if I follow the right one. And use Appraise here.
I've had just about enough of your tricks. This is where we separate the master from the upstart.
This is the last round. If we're going to win, we're going to need to work even harder than before.
And the point of this is that you get mostly just for 3 influence with Grobnar for bringing him along for a duet.
I'm sorry? Play with you? Why, I'd be honored. I'd be more than honored. Whatever that word is that describes that.
Well, love, I never thought I'd say it, but I've rather enjoyed this. And now that we're almost done, I'd be honoured to have your autograph. I mean, the autograph of a musician so bad he made the audience's ears actually cry. Yeah, it's got to be worth something, right?
Anyway. For maximum strangeness with Big Me and Little Grobnar.
It doesn't matter how well you play, love. I'll always be better. Well, what say, ladies and gents? Am I your man? Or is it this thing? Come on, let's have a cheer for good old Kane!
Golf clap.
Now, who thinks this rather unfortunate person should win? I'll remind you, pity applause will only encourage him. Unthinkable! This amateur, this godforsaken blight on music! No offense, love.
I do have a 0 perform skill.
Here, take the loot. No, I don't even want it anymore. I'd never have lost to you if it weren't for this. And the third-rate crowd.
Alright. And you get some XP and you get this loot, which, I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. And it's worth lots of money. There's one other side quest to pick up here in Black Lake at the Temple of Lathander, which you talk to Dawnbringer Natrice, and he has a package for Brother Mering, so we'll probably end up going back to West Harbor at some point. Brother Mering is the priest at West Harbor, if you missed that. And he's got some stuff for sale, and I might actually buy some of these Boots of the Sun Soul +4.
Me?
They're a monk item, but Grobnar can use them, so that's kind of handy. Not super important, but still useful. The other thing that he has that's worth mentioning is he has actually some crafting or essence components, and an essence, that you can just buy. And I may not use all these essences, but I usually just buy up all this stuff just because it's not often available. That's about all we're going to do in this episode. Next time we'll deal with those goth kids and then be, maybe get actually back to the plot eventually.